On you loyal listeners, thank you for tuning in to the L Squared podcast. I'm your host here, Luke Larson, and joining me today, as per the usual, my lovely and quacious special guest will be assisting me in leisurely launching you into levity, the co-host of the monthly musical Monday musical segment, Haley Zacharias.
Woo! Thanks for having me on.
Wow, that was a lot. You really brought the energy there.
Got it.
Well, yeah. Well, you're welcome, Haley. We are here for another musical, and it's another Monday. It's another week. It's another musical. In the year of musicals, like we talked about, this was one that came out a couple months ago, I think, on Netflix. That we had on our list. So we saw it, Tick, Tick, Boom, which was the semi-biographical musical based on Jonathon Larson, the man behind Rent, the musical. And this was based on the one-man performance play thing that he did by the same name before Rent came out.
I'm going to tell you a couple things right off the bat.
Okay.
You're going to be real upset with me.
Okay.
I was definitely doing other things while I was watching this movie.
Okay, I'm already mad.
But I had some things I had to get shipped, and so I was working on labeling and stuffing packages, and I didn't think it would take as much of my attention as it did. Second of all, I didn't know that he wrote Rent until the final credits.
Haley, you're so annoying. Yes, you did.
Or I forgot it.
Yeah, because we talked about it. Because they said it in the dang trailer.
I know, but I forgot that. And I literally, during the movie, I was like, this is a ripoff of Rent.
Oh my God.
So I told you.
I am so mad.
I just really needed to be honest right off the bat. I'm sorry.
Wow. Well, I am mad at you again. Okay. Well, for those of you wondering, the synopsis is: on the cusp of his 30th birthday, a promising young theater composer navigates love, friendship, and the pressures of life as an artist in New York City, starring Andrew Garfield. And directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, which I didn't realize till the end credits. But I'll say, you know who Lin-Manuel Miranda is.
Yes, I do.
Okay, I was gonna say, don't make that dumb look, or I'm gonna be extra mad at you.
Hamilton and
In the Heights.
In the Heights. Yep.
I just saw this the other night, and I loved this movie. I absolutely loved it. Which, I mean, put it on the books, guys. That's another musical that I loved this year.
Yeah, we're up to 3.
Yeah, up to 3 so far. Yeah, and I was not expecting to love this movie.
Really?
Well, I just didn't know. I guess I didn't know what to expect because the trailer looked like okay. Like I thought I would be like, oh, it looks interesting. Whatever. You know, I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't know really what to expect. I just thought like, okay, we'll see what, you know. I was not expecting to love it, but man, I loved this movie.
Wow, it's weird because they're like both kind of is, but kind of isn't a storyline.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a weird, you know, cerebral, you know, no storyline. But also at some points you're like, what's the point? But it's autobiographical, I suppose, you know, so it's not like a super simple plot.
Yeah. Which, if you've ever seen a one-man show, that's what a one-man show feels like. Because a lot of times or one-person show, they're semi-biographical, but also like they're odd because it's just one dude doing it. And this is based off as one-person show. And so it is like they really, you know, captured that well. And it was funny because the opening was like, this is all based on true events on his life, except for the stuff that he made up, you know, sort of a joke. But this, I loved it. This movie was like so good. And I mean, talk about, again, the mark of a good musical. For me, the only thing is that it's got bangers. This music is incredible. It's so good, from top to bottom. And what I liked about it was that he's always making music, so it was very natural. All the music was very natural. There weren't those like big sweeping, necessarily breaking reality musical numbers. There were some of them, but it was artistically handled in a way that wasn't like, there was maybe one that sort of literally broke through the walls at the diner.
Oh,
But other than that, it was like, he was telling it in flashback, so it sort of worked. And the way he's telling it was in a musical way too. So just the way that it all flowed was super entertaining. And it was a non-linear story, and also like it was just great. I absolutely loved it.
it was. They captured certain emotions so well. There was so many points that it was like actually anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
Which is what he was feeling at those, moments in his life.
Yeah. Like the deadline of getting that song done. And all of a sudden it's like, and the deadline of letting them know about the job, and like how the days keep passing because stuff is happening. And they're like, wait, what day is it now? And you're like, okay, can we talk about this another day? Well, it's tomorrow. And you're like, wait, what? How did this?
Yeah.
It just captured that perfectly. Yeah, I agree.
Yep. And then it just felt very honest. Which I don't know a lot about the dude. What's his name? Jonathon
Larson.
Yeah. But so I can't say if it's, super honest to who his character was, but it felt very personable, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is about a real person without being autobiographical in the sense of like boring, just stating facts,
Yeah. And it wasn't like,
born here, he went to school here, and then he did this.
Right. And it wasn't like a puff piece. It wasn't like, oh, he was this angel and he never did anything wrong. It really showed like him struggling with stuff and trying his best and not always doing well, and his like self-doubt, and him not being a great partner all the time. But everybody was just like, what I was saying. Okay, so I was gonna ask you about this, but now I really can ask you because it's not a thought piece. So you didn't know that he wrote Rent, or that he would write Rent, right? So they could have said that in the opening credits, but knowing that, watching it, made it so much more enjoyable for me, because it was like, well, this guy is a genius. Like, everybody's like, dude, you are a genius. You're special and you're incredible at this stuff. Like, it's going to hit. Like, it's just a matter of time until something hits. And he's like working hard, and he thinks it's going to be this one thing that he's worked 8 years on. And he thinks this is going to be the one. And everybody's like, well, you're great. It's going to happen. And so, knowing in the back of your head that isn't going to work out, but he is going to have something that is going to work out, is like made it so much more enjoyable, at least for me to watch, because it was like, it just like confirms everybody saying like, yeah, you're great, you're one of the greats. And you also know that he isn't going to live to see that success either. He doesn't get to live to see the success of Rent. But his show, Tick Tick Boom, was a pretty big success though, as a one-man show. Went on. And this is a little bit, I don't know if they meant this to be, because I think this came out before Stephen Sondheim died, but this is sort of like pays tribute to Stephen Sondheim in a lot of ways. He was the producer that meant a lot to him, that kept showing up to his shows and stuff. And he is, a legend.
Once years ago that he
said he
was a genius or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And won't give up or whatever.
Yeah. And he's just, a titan of the industry, especially with musicals. And so it's sort of cool. Stephen Sondheim passed away in November, but it's sort of like cool that it's like, oh, that he can also like live on through. It was a cool little tribute to him. And I don't know if they meant that, but it's great. The music's great. It feels like you're living in New York City. And it's not too fantastical. That's what I was afraid of. I thought it was going to be super over the top and super
There's not
like
a bunch of dancing alley scenes and
no. And it's like
from the New York apartment. It's
yes.
working at the stupid diner with rude people and
yes.
See, but I kind of liked not knowing because I was like really in the moment with him because I didn't know. I don't know if he's going to make it. And that's probably how he felt.
Right.
And I don't know if you're a genius or if you're just a weird guy or if maybe you are a genius, but you're not going to get discovered. There's probably a lot of people that are starving artists that never have their big break.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what because I liked it, but also I don't know what it's like to not know that going into it. So it is interesting because like my one flaw, I guess, that really stood out to me was that it was just copy and pasted right toward the end of the movie where they were like, oh, he would go do Rent would be this big success, he would die before that happened, and here's the rest of the movie. And it was like it had nothing to do with the movie, and the movie was like, you know, based on its one person show, and it really was like it really felt out of place. That should have been the last thing. If you're going to say that, like just do it as like the end crawl or something, just have text show up. Don't just put it here and then keep going a little bit. You know, that was weird. It felt super out of place. And it sort of made the ending kind of herky jerky.
Yep.
But I mean, but to me, this movie, the story arc is like struggling artist. He thinks he's great, you know, or like everybody thinks he's this genius and then he's going to do it. And he's been working on this passion project for years. And he's like putting literally everything he can into it at the expense of his life and his job, relationship, everything to just get this preview done, this workshop, you know, to get a presentation. He does it. It goes great. Everybody loves it, but nobody's going to buy it. Like it's not sellable. And so this thing that he's worked for almost a decade on that everybody agrees is great and he put all his work into is like, now what? And she says like, well, now it's time you move on, you do the next one.
Yeah. Oh, that was just that whole part was just so fascinating to me. Yeah. Like no one except for him batted an eye. Like you just work on the next thing. And that was like, I don't know, like he didn't really get to grieve the fact that one didn't work, but he didn't have time to.
Yeah.
But he took the advice and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if he would have taken time to grieve, he wouldn't have been able to have the stamina, the ability to work on the next thing.
And maybe him making Tick Tick Boom, that's how he processed it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that was his grieving. It was putting work into that as sort of saying goodbye to that part of his life and that part of what he thought his career was going to be, and thinking he's getting too old, which was funny too. Like he just was like, oh, this person, Paul McCartney, was 27 when the Beatles broke up and all this stuff, thinking that he's too old now to break through. And it's a little bit like, yeah, it's a little bit sad that he died before his big success came out, but also like, I don't know, who cares? Like that's not really what it's all about. And it's a really interesting movie. It's very well made. Mm-hmm. The music is great. And
is it the same? So that is it the same script as his one-man show? Was the name of the one-man show, right?
Yep, I believe.
But obviously, he couldn't have had the exact same.
Right. I mean, it was based on it, but I believe pretty much all those. I mean, the songs are credited to him, so I'm pretty sure that he wrote all those songs.
And
for the show,
acted as more than one person in the scenes that are more than one people?
Yeah, I mean, like a one-man show is like him doing the performance, but he had singers and other musicians there. But yeah, this was all these songs were part of that show, and so he was like, "Yeah, this is the story. This is where I was at," and da 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 da. And then they go do a song, and it's like da 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 da, and then do that stuff. Yeah, I believe.
That'd be interesting. I don't think I've ever actually seen a one-man show.
Yeah, they can be a lot of different things, but it's tough. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, kudos to, I don't know if anybody was really asking for this movie, but I mean, I'm glad it exists. And
it makes me want to watch Rent again.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Rent?
No, I've never seen
I've
it.
actually seen Rent.
Yeah, I know you were a big fan of it.
Yeah, that was like, I don't know, I probably watched it in middle school or high school, and I was like, this is fascinating and fun and sad and intriguing.
Yeah, and Lin-Manuel Miranda was in theater school in the mid 90s, like 96. So he was in the scene when Jonathon Larson died, and then he was there when Rent became huge. So I'm sure that him as an aspiring musical theater artist probably, connected a lot with Jonathon Larson's story and felt that,
Yeah.
So it's also cool that he got to direct this. I would assume he had, some meaning in it. And Lin-Manuel doesn't ruin it. He's in one scene. Did you see that?
Oh, I did not catch that.
He was one of the fry cooks in the diner, and he had like one line or something, and I was like, oh no, I don't want it. And then it was fine. But
so what we're doing is we like movies directed. Does he directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, in which he has a very small role?
Yes, because it was, I don't know. I'm sorry, man. I just don't like his voice. It's just rough. And
sorry.
I'm sorry, guys, but I hate him. No, there's just something that just doesn't work for me. It's weird and nasally.
Not my style. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it. But we haven't even talked about this somehow. Andrew Garfield. Holy cow! This performance is incredible.
Is he the lead guy?
Yeah. Who else would I be talking about?
Know that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Who else am I talking about? I thought you did prep for this show, Haley.
Oh gosh, no! I just show up.
He was one of the Spider-Mans. He was Spider-Man a couple years ago.
Well, I probably didn't see that either.
No, you didn't. He's British too, but you didn't know that.
I didn't know that. He did a good job.
So good. He really went for it. It's a very physical role, and obviously takes a lot of singing and a lot of dancing, and he played that neuroticism so well.
Yeah.
And scary. Yeah, but it's great. He did a great job. I think he should be nominated for best actor. I don't know. We're just about in the awards season, so we'll see what the big pushes are. But I would hope so. The Academy doesn't always like streaming movies, so we'll see.
Oh, was this not in theaters at all?
I think select theaters. I think it was mostly Netflix.
Is that because of COVID or because of something else?
Well, let's get Netflix on the horn. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it was just Netflix, actually. I'm pretty sure it was. But then to be up for awards, you have to release in theaters. So what they do is they'll release in like 5 theaters across the nation, and then that counts. And yeah, but the nice part about it being on Netflix is that you loyal listeners can go see it right now if you have it.
Yeah, it's good. I suggest just watching it, not doing anything else.
Yeah.
Advice straight from me to you.
Yeah. I think I am owed an apology.
I am sorry. I'll probably watch it again and pay attention more because it was good.
Thanks. I think you'll like it. And like what we talked about in the last episode, there's a really good crossroads there between career and relationship.
Yeah.
And those decisions are tough to make. Mm-hmm. And are they worth it? Or are they not? And this one really felt like a real relationship.
Yeah.
And real stakes. And both sides had pretty good. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
rough.
she was lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also with what was it? The advertising.
The firm, yeah.
Yeah. At first I was like, don't do that. But then at one point I was like, you are so dumb. This is a real job.
Yeah.
A real job. And you're not going to make it. You kind of suck and it's not going well. And just, yeah.
And then he kind of went on that too. And he was like, okay, I don't care. Just give it to me. I don't care anymore.
I was right there with him. I was like, finally, you're coming to your senses.
Yeah. But he didn't. He stuck to his guns. And I guess it paid off.
Yeah.
But that's the artist's life.
I don't think I want to be an artist.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm saying.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, tell me about it. That's all I do. This is what I do, loyal listener. It's how I make my money. Anyway, check it out. This is literally, I'm gonna say it, one of my favorite movies of the year. Depending on what comes out, this might be in my top 10 of the year. Wow. I loved it. Unexpectedly so, and I'll rewatch it.
Fun to see in theaters.
It would have been. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, go check it out. Let us know what you thought, and don't do anything else while you're watching it.
Yep, just watch it.
Okay.
Bye.
Till next time.